They say a man can't outrun his past. I never tried to. I've been hunting mine for 10 years, through 3 territories, across 1,000 miles of hard country. Tonight, the trail finally went hot. The mountain wind cut like a knife as I crouched on that ridge, Winchester 73 cold against my knee. Below me, a stagecoach careened through the canyon, wheels screaming on loose stone. 2 riders in black pursued it, professionals, not bandits. I could tell by the way they rode, the way they shot, deliberate, controlled, trying to disable, not destroy. Through my spyglass, I caught a glimpse of the passenger. A woman, dark hair wild, clutching something to her chest like her life depended on it. Maybe it did. Behind her, the riders closed in. One raised his rifle. I chambered around. The coach hit the bridge, ancient timber, rotten planks, barely holding together. The woman looked up, eyes wide with terror. She knew what was coming. So did I. Grace waited this long, I muttered to the wind. This woman's got maybe 10 seconds. I squeezed the trigger. 400 yards, moving target, fading light. The kind of shot you make once and remember forever, or miss and regret for eternity. The lead rider's horse screamed and went down hard. The second rider pulled back, spooked, but the damage was done. The coach lurched sideways, wood splintered, the bridge gave way, and the whole damn thing plunged into the river below. I was already moving, down that ridge faster than any sane man should, my horse Thunder taking the slope like he was born to it. By the time I reached the riverbank, the coach was matchsticks. Bodies floated in the current. The driver, dead, neck broken. The other passenger, gone, swept downstream, but the woman, she lay half in the water, half on the muddy shore, still breathing. I pulled her out. She coughed up river water, gasped for air, clutched that leather satchel like it was salvation itself. Her eyes found mine, brown, fierce, terrified. "Easy," I said. "You're safe now." "Safe?" She laughed, bitter, desperate. "They'll come back. He'll send more." "Who will?" She didn't answer, just held that satchel tighter. I noticed the quality of the leather. Expensive, banker's leather, Kansas City quality, not frontier rough. What's in the bag that's worth dying for? Her eyes met mine again. This time I saw something beyond fear. I saw rage. "Proof," she whispered. "That Reed Blackwood murdered my sister, and he's not working alone." My blood went cold. "Blackwood?" She opened the satchel with trembling fingers. Inside, a ledger, pristine, detailed, damning. She turned to a page, pointed to an entry with a shaking finger. "FD, Denver, $5,000, livestock delivery." My jaw clenched so hard I thought my teeth would crack. "FD," I said. "Frank Dalton." "You know him?" I looked away, toward the mountains where the sun was setting blood red. "He took my sister when she was 16. I've been looking for him ever since." The woman stared at me. Then she started laughing. Not joy, just the sound a person makes when fate's irony becomes too much to bear. "Then we're both hunting the same devil," she said. "Not hunting anymore," I replied. "Hunting's over. Now comes the killing." 3 days later, I rode into Silver Bend with the woman, Claire Hawthorne. She told me, on a borrowed horse beside me. The town hadn't changed, 200 souls scratching life from hard ground. One main street, a saloon at the far end, sheriff's office, general store, and the Mountain View Cafe where Harold Pierce still served the best coffee in 3 territories. But it was the building on the edge of town I was thinking about. The white structure with the bell tower. Ruth Morgan's orphanage. The place that saved my life when I was 8 years old. The place Frank Dalton's men had taken my sister from when she was 16. Marcus Webb stood on the sheriff's office porch when we rode up. 52 years old, silver-haired, still carried himself like the Union colonel he'd been. He saw me and grinned. "Cole Bennett. Thought you were at Silverhorn." I dismounted, pulled the ledger from my saddlebag. "Business in town." His grin faded when I set the book on his desk. "The kind that concerns you." Marcus poured 2 glasses of whiskey. He didn't ask, just poured. "We'd done this before, after Shiloh, after Antietam. After every battle that left holes in your soul. Shiloh, he said. Shiloh. We drank. Then he opened the ledger. His face went white. Jesus Christ, Cole. This is evidence, I interrupted. Against Reed Blackwood and Frank Dalton. Every transaction, every payment, every girl they moved through their network. Claire stepped forward then. Explained Kansas City. Her sister Emily, married to Reed, dead under suspicious circumstances. The ledger hidden in the house, her escape with the only proof that could hang him. Marcus listened. He was good at that. Listening, calculating, planning. War had taught us both to think before we moved. Reed Blackwood's powerful, Marcus said carefully. Men like that don't go down easy. Men like that still bleed, I replied. Same as anyone. Marcus studied me. We'd known each other 20 years. He could read me like a map. Don't start a war you can't finish, Cole. I met his eyes. I've been hunting him since Grace disappeared. Time to end it. Victor Hayes met us at the Cottonwood boarding house, 48 years old, limping from the leg wound he'd taken at Shiloh. Still strong, still reliable, still the man who dragged me out of a Confederate trench while bullets screamed overhead. Cole, he eyed Claire. She with you? She needs a room, safe one. Victor nodded. Attic's open. Door sticks, but locked solid. Claire started to protest. I can't pay. I'll cover it, I said. Victor gave me that look, the one that said he knew more than he was letting on. This about Grace? Everything's about Grace. He leaned closer, voice dropping. Heard rumors. Dalton's coming to town. Livestock auction, 3 days. My hand went to my Colt without thinking. Then we have 3 days to prepare. Ruth Morgan's orphanage stood a mile west of town. White clapboard, bell tower, children playing in the yard. But these weren't just orphans. I knew that. I'd known it for years. Ruth appeared on the porch as we approached. 55 years old now, gray hair pulled back, eyes that had seen too much suffering and refused to look away. Cole Bennett, she said, you look like you're planning something stupid. Planning something necessary. She smiled, sad, knowing. Come inside. Her office was exactly as I remembered. Desk, chair, and a map on the wall marked with routes, safe houses, escape paths, an underground railroad for women fleeing hell itself. 23 children here, Ruth said, closing the door. 7 are actually women hiding from their husbands. Claire's eyes widened. You're smuggling them? I'm saving them. Ruth's voice was steel wrapped in velvet. The law won't help, churches won't help, so we help ourselves. She turned to me. You've been tracking Dalton. Every trail that went cold, every lead that died, until now. And now? Now I know where he keeps them, his hunting cabin. 4 hours into the mountains. Ruth's face hardened. She opened a drawer, pulled out photographs, women, scared, bruised, some barely more than girls. I've rescued 17 from his network, she said. Never found the source. The cabin, I repeated. That's where he conducts business, where I stopped. Couldn't finish. Where he keeps Grace, Ruth finished for me. Her hand touched my shoulder. Cole, if there's a chance she's alive? The door burst open. Clara, one of Ruth's helpers, face white with panic. Riders, 4 of them. One's Jake Tanner. The room went silent. Even the air seemed to stop moving. Jake Tanner, Dalton's enforcer. 40 years old, face carved from violence, scar running from ear to jaw where someone had tried to kill him and failed. 6 confirmed kills. Probably twice that. A man who enjoyed his work too much. A man I'd been planning to kill for 5 years. How many women are you hiding? I asked Ruth. 3, upstairs. Get them to the cellar. I checked my Colt. 6 rounds, all I'd need. I'll handle Tanner. Claire grabbed my arm. 1 man against 4? I looked at her. I've had worse odds. They came like they owned the place. 4 riders, leather coats, guns visible. But it was the man in front that made my blood run cold. Jake Tanner dismounted slowly, deliberate, letting me see him check his pistol, adjust his gun belt. Psychological warfare. I'd seen it before. Hell, I'd used it before. I stepped onto the porch, Winchester held loose but ready. The afternoon sun was behind me, advantage mine. Small things matter in a gunfight. Bennett, Tanner's voice was sandpaper on rust. Heard you were back in town. Tanner, heard you were still alive. Shame. He laughed. Actually laughed. Still got that mouth. Want to see if you're still fast? Try me. We stood there, 30 feet apart. His men fanned out. I didn't move. Didn't need to. Victor was in the barn with a shotgun. Harold Pierce had appeared from nowhere with a rifle. Marcus was riding up the road, hand on his pistol. We weren't alone, and Tanner knew it. But he wasn't here to fight. Not yet. Boss wants to know if you're hiding anyone, he said. Just orphans. Ruth runs an orphanage. Case you forgot. Funny how Ruth's orphans are all grown women lately. Funny how Dalton's cattle keep disappearing. Want to talk about that? Tanner's smile vanished. He took a step forward. So did I. The air crackled with violence about to happen. Then he said it. The words I'd been waiting years to hear. You're still looking for her, aren't you? Your sister? My body went rigid, every muscle coiled like a spring. Pretty little thing, Tanner continued, his voice like oil on water. Dark hair, tall. Real spirited when she first arrived, tried to run twice. We broke her of that habit. My finger touched the Winchester's trigger. Where is she? Boss keeps his property in good condition. His smile was cruel. She's worth more undamaged. I raised the rifle, aimed at his heart. 10 pounds of trigger pressure between him and hell. I'll kill you right now. Ruth stepped between us, brave, foolish, beautiful in her courage. Enough, she said. Jake, you've made your point. Cole, not in front of the children. Tanner laughed again, mounted his horse, leaned down close as he passed. She's close, Bennett. Real close. At the cabin, waiting for you. He spurred his horse, but before he disappeared down the road, he turned back one last time. Come get her, if you've got the stones. Then he was gone, on dust rising behind him like smoke from a funeral pyre. I stood there shaking, not fear, rage, years of rage compressed into this moment. He's baiting you, Ruth said softly. He confirmed it. My voice was barely human. Grace is alive. At that cabin. Claire appeared beside me. Then we go get her. I turned. We? You saved my life. I'm returning the favor. Victor stepped from the barn. I'm in. Harold Pierce emerged from shadows. Me too. Lost my daughter to Dalton 5 years back. Marcus rode up, face grim. Heard there was trouble. I looked at them. Men I'd fought beside. Bled beside. Men who knew what needed doing and would do it without question. 3 days, I said. We prepare, then we ride to that cabin. And then? Marcus asked. Then we burn it to the ground. Marcus's office smelled like gun oil and old leather. The map of Dalton's property lay spread across his desk, every detail I'd memorized over 2 years of surveillance drawn in careful lines. 4 guard posts, I said, marking positions with a knife. 2-man patrols every 2 hours, shifts change at dawn and dusk. Marcus studied it with a commander's eye. How recent is this intel? 2 months, but Dalton's predictable. Military training, Confederate raiders. 4th Virginia Cavalry, Marcus's voice was ice. I remember them from Antietam. We all did. The 4th Virginia had been butchers, not soldiers, butchers. They'd cut through Union lines like demons, taking no prisoners, showing no mercy. Dalton had learned his trade well. Victor pointed to the southern approach. How many men full-time? 8 to 12. During auctions, 20 plus. Harold Pierce set down his coffee cup. And we're 5. 5 who know the ground, 5 who have reason to fight. 6. Marcus's voice was quiet but certain. Doc Miller's coming. We'll need a medic. I nodded. Jackson Miller, 60 years old, town doctor, steady hands, steadier nerve. He'd stitched me up 3 times. Saved Victor's leg after Shiloh. If any of us took a bullet, Doc would keep us alive long enough to finish the job. Claire entered then, carrying the ledger. I've been analyzing the records. Dalton moves women every third Thursday. She spread papers across the desk. Dates, times, patterns, emerging from Reed's meticulous notes. Next Thursday, she said. Day after the auction. So buyers come to the auction as cover, Victor said slowly. Make deals in public. Collect their purchases at the cabin. Exactly. Marcus's face was granite. We hit them when they're all there. Maximum force, I added. No warning. We spent the next hour planning. Marcus opened his gun cabinet. 6 Winchester rifles, 4 Colt revolvers, 2 10-gauge shotguns, 200 rounds of ammunition. Not enough. Not nearly enough. We need explosives, I said. Harold straightened. Mining supply store closed 2 weeks ago, but I know where they kept the dynamite. Marcus's eyes narrowed. That's theft, Harold. That's war, Marcus. Harold's voice was hard. My daughter was 15 when Dalton took her. Found her body 3 months later in a ravine outside Denver. You tell me what the law did about that. You tell me what justice she got. Silence filled the room. Heavy, terrible, true. Get the dynamite, Marcus said finally. The Silver Dollar Saloon was enemy territory after dark. Dalton's men drank there, played cards there, bragged about things that made my stomach turn. But it was also where information flowed if you knew how to listen. I entered alone. The bartender's eyes widened. Conversation died like a candle in wind. I walked to the bar. Whiskey. The bartender poured with shaking hands. Around me, men watched, some of Dalton's, some just drifters, all dangerous in their own way. I took my drink to a corner booth where a man sat alone, Samuel Rodriguez, 45, Mexican, hands scarred from rope and leather. I'd seen him around town, kept to himself, worked odd jobs. Mind if I sit? He gestured to the empty seat. We sat in silence for a full minute, then he spoke. Heard you were asking about the cabin. Might be. I worked there. Much 3 years as stable hand. My pulse quickened, but I kept my face empty. Why'd you leave? Because I got a daughter. His eyes were hard. Didn't want her seeing what I saw. He pulled out a napkin, drew quick lines with a pencil stub. Interior layout, guard positions, room locations. Details only someone who'd been inside would know. Basement, he said, voice low. That's where he keeps them before delivery. Reinforced door. Combination lock. Only Dalton and Tanner know the numbers. How many women are there now? Sam's eyes met mine. Last I heard, 5. My hand clenched around the glass. It cracked. Whiskey spilled. Your sister's one of them, Sam continued, and I saw her 2 months ago when I quit. Dark hair, tall, wouldn't break no matter what they did to her. The room spun. Years of searching, hoping, dying inside every time a lead went cold. And now, confirmation. Grace was alive. I'll guide you in, Sam said, but I want assurance. Of what? That when this is done, my family's protected. Dalton's reach is long. I extended my hand. You help us end him. Your family's safe. You have my word. We shook, the handshake of men about to walk into hell together. Then the door opened. Jake Tanner entered with 2 of his men. He saw me immediately, started walking over. But this time his approach was different, quieter, more dangerous. He pulled out a chair, sat without being invited. Bennett. His eyes flicked to Sam, then back to me. Making new friends? Free country, Jake. For some. His hand rested on his pistol grip. 3 days, Bennett, you and me, just us. I'll be there. He stood, leaned close. His breath smelled like whiskey and death. Don't be late. Then he was gone. Marcus walked in moments later, shotgun cradled in his arms. You all right? Better than all right, I said. We've got our way in. The day of the auction arrived like Judgment Day, sun rising red, air heavy with heat and tension. Main Street filled with cattle, buyers, noise, and Frank Dalton. He rode in at noon, tall, distinguished, expensive suit, smile that fooled everyone who didn't know what evil looked like. 48 years old, but moved like a younger man. Power does that. Makes you believe you're untouchable. Our eyes met across the street. He smiled, started walking toward me. Marcus tensed beside me. Easy, Cole. I'm always easy. Dalton stopped 3 feet away, close enough to see the coldness in his eyes, the absolute lack of anything human. Cole Bennett, his voice was smooth, cultured. I've heard so much about you. Funny, I've heard nothing good about you. Still bitter about your sister? He tilted his head like I was a curiosity. That was business, son, nothing personal. Kidnapping a 16-year-old girl is personal. She came willingly. They all do at first. He leaned closer. Want to know the secret? You give them hope. Just enough hope that they think they can survive if they cooperate. By the time they realize hope was a lie, it's too late. My hand moved toward my Colt. Marcus caught my wrist. Dalton laughed. Easy, Bennett. We're civilized men. He straightened his jacket. But if you want her back, come get her, tonight, the cabin. Bring whoever you want, sunset. That an invitation? It's a warning. I know you're planning something. So let's make it official. You and your friends, me and mine, settle this old school. You're on. He tipped his hat. Sunset. Don't be late. Back at Marcus's office, I revealed the real plan. Dalton thinks we're attacking at sunset, straight assault. And we're not? Victor asked. We go at dawn tomorrow, before they expect us, before they're ready. Sam nodded approval. He'll double guards tonight. Good. They'll be exhausted by morning, half asleep, sloppy. Dalton waited at the cabin until midnight. When we didn't show, he laughed. Coward, he told Tanner. All that talk, and he runs. Or he's smarter than you think, Tanner replied. Double the guards anyway. He'll come eventually. They always do. But by dawn, the guards were exhausted, half asleep, rotating shifts with men who'd been up all night. Exactly what I'd planned. We spent the evening preparing. Harold checked the dynamite, 12 sticks carefully packed. Victor sharpened knives until they could split hair. Marcus wrote letters home, just in case. Doc Miller organized medical supplies with methodical precision, and I sat alone, cleaning my Colt, staring at the only photograph I had of Grace. 8 years old, laughing, alive, whole. We're coming, I whispered to the image. Hold on. Claire found me there an hour before midnight, sat beside me without speaking. We'd learned silence together, the comfortable kind that comes from shared purpose. Can't sleep? She finally asked. Never sleep before a fight. More silence. Then she spoke again. If this goes wrong tomorrow, it won't. But if it does, I want you to know you gave me something. What's that? Purpose. The will to fight back. I looked at her then. Really looked. Saw strength I'd missed before. Saw someone who'd survived hell and chosen to walk back into it for the sake of others. You always had it, I said. Just needed reason to use it. A gunshot shattered the window above us. I tackled Claire, both of us hitting the porch hard. More shots, muzzle flashes from the tree line. I returned fire, Winchester barking in the darkness. Marcus and Victor emerged with rifles. The attackers retreated, hoofbeats fading into night. We found a note pinned to the porch with a knife. Tomorrow you die, but tonight, know you're already too late. The women are gone. JT. He's bluffing, I said. Sam shook his head. Or Dalton moved them early. Marcus checked his pocket watch. Either way, we go at dawn. No change. 4 hours until sunrise. 4 hours until we rode into hell. I stood on that porch, looking at the mountains where Grace waited, alive or dead, I'd know by noon. For what it's worth, Claire said beside me, I believe in you. Don't, I replied. Believe in the mission. Men fail. Justice doesn't. But as I said it, I wondered if I believed my own words. They say you never forget your first battle. The smell of gunpowder, the screams, the way time slows down and speeds up simultaneously. I'd been in real battles, Shiloh, Antietam, places where boys became men or corpses. But this felt different. This was personal. We rode in silence through pre-dawn darkness. 6 men, 6 horses, enough weapons to start a small war, which is exactly what we were doing. Cole Bennett, Marcus Webb, Victor Hayes, Harold Pierce, Samuel Rodriguez, Jackson Miller, not an army. Just 6 men who decided that some evils can't be tolerated, that some fights are worth dying for. The cabin appeared as gray light touched the mountains, exactly where my nightmares had placed it for years. Log walls, guard towers, corral with horses, and somewhere inside, Grace. Sam pointed to positions. 2 guards on the porch, 1 at the stable. 4th should be on roving patrol. There, west side. Marcus chambered around in his shotgun. Last chance to back out, boys, Victor spat tobacco. Never retreated from a fight in my life, not starting now. Harold checked his dynamite. My daughter's been dead 5 years because of that man. I'm seeing this through. Sam crossed himself. For every woman he's taken, every family destroyed. Doc's hands were steady on his revolver. For decency, for civilization. They all looked at me. For Grace, I said. The plan was simple. Simple plans work best when bullets fly. Harold would plant dynamite at the north wall. 30-second fuse. Sam would release the horses, create chaos. Marcus and Victor would take out the porch guards with simultaneous shots. Doc and I would breach the front door in the confusion. Extract the women. Escape south. Simple. Sam moved like a ghost through early light. Reached the stable. Hands on the door latch. Waiting. Harold placed charges against the north wall, hands steady despite his age, despite knowing he'd be closest to the blast. Marcus and Victor aimed at the porch guards, breathing synchronized, waiting for my signal. My hand went up. Wait for the horses. Sam pulled the stable door open. 12 horses bolted into the compound, startled, wild, running everywhere. Now! Marcus and Victor fired as one. 2 guards dropped before they knew they were dead. Harold lit the fuse. I counted. 28, 29, 30. The north wall exploded. Timber and stone flying. Men pouring from the cabin, confused, half-dressed, reaching for weapons. I charged through the smoke, Winchester firing. Precision, not panic. 3 men down in 3 seconds. Doc right behind me, covering angles. The front door splintered under my boot. Inside, chaos. 2 men reaching for rifles. I was faster, both down. Basement, I shouted to Doc. Cover the hall! Gunfire erupted behind us. Doc returned fire, methodical, calm. The door to the basement, exactly where Sam said it would be. Reinforced, combination lock. I tried numbers, nothing worked. Time was running out. Cole! Doc's voice was urgent. We got company. 30 seconds! Harold appeared, blood running down his face from a graze wound. Move back! He placed a small charge on the lock. Fire in the hole! The explosion was deafening in the confined space. The door blew inward. Smoke and dust filled the air. Down wooden stairs into darkness. 5 women huddled in the corner, terrified, malnourished, barely human after what they'd endured. I raised the lantern, scanned faces. Then I saw her. Grace, 10 years older, harder, thinner, but alive. Her eyes, those same eyes I remembered, found mine. Grace. Her voice was a whisper, disbelieving, hoping, breaking. Cole? How? I never stopped looking. Never. I wanted to hold her, to tell her everything would be okay, to turn back time and undo 10 years of suffering. But gunfire raged above us. No time for reunion. Only survival. Can you walk? I can run. I helped the women up the stairs. Doc at the top. Paths clear to south exit. Move. We were almost to the door when Jake Tanner stepped into the corridor. 2 men with him. Rifles raised, years of hunting, years of rage, and here he was. Bennett. His voice was cold. Finally. I pushed Grace behind me. Get out of the way, Jake. After all this, think I'm letting you walk away? You're letting them all walk away. Question is whether you're standing or bleeding when they do. Then Grace stepped forward. I tried to pull her back, but she shook me off. Moved toward Tanner with purpose I hadn't seen in her eyes since she was 16. Jake, Tanner's eyes narrowed. Girl, you don't want to... 10 years, Grace said, her voice like frozen steel. You know what you took from me? She grabbed Doc's revolver from his holster, aimed at Tanner's chest. Her hand was steady. No trembling, no hesitation. Everything. You took everything. She fired. The shot echoed in the narrow corridor. Tanner staggered, looked down at the blood spreading across his shirt. His face showed genuine surprise that a broken woman could still fight back. That's for every woman who couldn't fight back, Grace said. Every girl you destroyed, every life you ruined. She looked at me. Now we can go. Tanner's men raised their rifles. I dropped both before they could fire. We stepped over Tanner's dying body. He was still gasping, still trying to speak, and ran. Outside, chaos. Dalton's men scattered or dead. Marcus and Victor holding the south exit with withering fire. Sam had the horses ready. Harold leaned against a tree, hand pressed to his side, blood seeping through his fingers. A through and through. Painful, but not fatal. You'll live, you stubborn bastard, Doc said, already working on the wound. We mounted up. Women on horses protected in the middle. Men forming a perimeter. Marcus counted heads. Where's Dalton? Sam pointed east. Saw him ride out when the shooting started. I looked at the mountains. Somewhere out there, Frank Dalton was running. The man who'd built an empire on suffering. Who'd stolen 10 years from my sister. Who'd destroyed countless lives. He was running, and I was done letting him run. Get them to Silver Bend, I told Marcus. I'll finish this now, Colt, he started. This is mine to finish. He understood. So did they all. Some debts can only be paid one way. I spurred Thunder east. What? Into the mountains. After the devil himself. Dalton's trail was easy to follow. Expensive thoroughbred horse, city bred, not built for mountain endurance. Thunder had been born in these hills. Knew every trail, every shortcut. The gap closed. I found him in a clearing beside a creek. His horse was lame, foam on its flanks. He stood beside it, Winchester in hand, watching me approach with that same cold calculation. We were 50 yards apart, then 40, 30. I dismounted, so did the pretense of civilization. Persistent bastard, aren't you, Dalton called. You took my sister. I took a lot of things. Property, money, women. That's business. Human beings aren't property. In my world, everything's for sale. He raised his Winchester. Even justice. Not today. We stood there, 30 feet of open ground between us. Some wind rustling leaves, creek babbling over stones, birds singing like the world wasn't about to change forever. This was it. 10 years of hunting, 10 years of rage and pain and hope dying slowly. All of it coming down to this moment, this man, this choice. You'll have to live with killing me, Dalton said. I'll manage. He moved. I was faster. One shot. Center mass. Clean. Final. The Winchester fell from his hands. He looked down at the blood blooming across his white shirt, then up at me. Surprise and understanding flickered in his eyes. He fell to his knees. I walked over, stood above him, looked into the eyes of the man who'd stolen 10 years of my life, who'd broken my sister, who'd destroyed countless families. Won't change anything, he gasped, blood on his lips. System's too big. Others will replace me. Maybe. But you won't be there to see it. Tell me, he coughed. Was she worth it? 10 years of hunting? I thought about Grace, about her pulling that trigger on Tanner, about the strength it took to survive what she'd survived, about the 17 other women we'd rescued, about every daughter who wouldn't be taken because we'd stood up. Every second, I said. Frank Dalton died with his eyes open, staring at mountains he'd never see again. I stood there for a long moment, no satisfaction, no joy, just exhaustion and a strange emptiness where the rage had been. 10 years of purpose gone in a single shot. It was done. I looked at the sky, sun climbing, light breaking through clouds, a good day to end a war. I mounted Thunder and rode back toward Silver Bend, toward Grace, toward whatever came next. 2 weeks later, Silver Bend looked different, or maybe I looked different. Hard to tell after you've killed a man and rescued your sister from hell. The federal marshals arrived 3 days after Dalton died. Professional men with badges and paperwork and the authority to make things official. Reed Blackwood was arrested in Kansas City. The ledger Claire had saved was enough to hang him twice over. 17 more women had been rescued from the network's other locations across 3 territories. But it was what happened to Judge John Fletcher that brought me the most satisfaction. The day after Dalton died, Marcus arrested Fletcher in the Silver Dollar Saloon. The judge had been drinking, heavily. Maybe he knew what was coming. Federal warrant, Marcus said, slapping papers on the bar. Conspiracy to traffic women. Your name's all over that ledger. Fletcher tried to run. Made it 3 steps before Victor's cane tripped him. Face first into sawdust. 20 years on the bench, Marcus said, hauling him up. All of it dirty. They found $8,000 in Fletcher's hotel room, Dalton's payments, blood money for looking the other way, for dismissing complaints, for protecting evil while wearing the mask of justice. The judge hanged 3 months later in Denver. I didn't attend. Some men aren't worth the ride. Sam Rodriguez moved his family to California. Fresh start, new names, a chance to forget what he'd seen at that cabin. Before he left, he found me at Ruth's orphanage. I owe you my life, he said. You owe me nothing. We're even. He shook my hand. If you ever need anything, I know where to find you. He smiled. Rode west toward the sunset, free man, free family, that's what winning looks like. Harold Pierce recovered. The bullet had gone clean through, missed anything vital. Doc Miller had done good work as always. Harold sold the Mountain View Cafe to Claire, said he needed a fresh start. Moved to Denver to be near where his daughter was buried. Visits her grave every Sunday. Some wounds heal, others you just learn to carry. I sat on Ruth's orphanage porch that evening, watching Grace play with the children. She'd taken to helping Ruth, teaching the girls to read, showing them that survival was possible, that healing, while slow, was real. She'd wake up screaming most nights. That would probably never stop, but during the day I saw glimpses of the girl she'd been, the one who laughed, who dreamed, who believed the world could be good. It would take time, maybe years, but we had time now. Thank you, she told me the night after the rescue. We'd been sitting on this same porch watching stars appear. For never giving up. You're my sister. Giving up wasn't an option. What now for you? Figure out who I am when I'm not hunting. Might take a while. You've got time. We both do. Yeah, we did. Claire appeared with lemonade. She'd bought the cafe with money from Reed's estate, was turning it into something respectable, something good. Thought you could use this, she said, handing me a glass. She'd changed too, stronger, more confident, like she'd found something in herself she didn't know was there. You staying in Silver Bend? She asked, sitting beside me. For now, Grace needs family. And after, when she's healed? I looked at her, really looked. Saw someone who'd walked through fire and chose to build instead of burn. Maybe I'll need a good cook at the ranch, I said. She smiled. Maybe I'll need a decent foreman to keep drunks out of my cafe. Business partners then. For now. She held my gaze. We'll see what comes after. Some stories don't need neat endings. Some stories need time. Time to heal, time to grow, time to figure out what comes next when the war is over. We had that now. Grace saw us and waved. I waved back. She smiled. Bigger this time, more real. Small victories, small steps forward. Federal marshal had offered me a job. Hunt down what was left of Dalton's network. Good pay, purpose, a chance to keep fighting. I'd turned him down. I'm done hunting Marcus. Time I learned to live instead. What'll you do? Silverhorn Ranch needs a foreman. Ruth's orphanage needs protecting. I gestured to Grace. My sister needs family. Seems like enough. I sat there on that porch as the sun set over Silver Bend. Grace was safe. The women were free. Dalton was dead. Blackwood arrested, Fletcher hanged. It should have felt like victory. Maybe it did. Maybe I'd just forgotten what victory felt like. My Colt still hung on my hip. Peace, but not naivety. Evil doesn't die just because you kill one man. It adapts, finds new faces, waits for good men to stop watching. But tonight, I wasn't watching for evil. Tonight, I was watching my sister laugh. And that was enough. They say every man has a reckoning coming. Mine came on a mountain in Colorado, with bullets and blood, and finally, justice. I'd hunted Frank Dalton for 10 years. In the end, it took 6 men and 1 desperate woman to bring him down. Was it worth it? Ask Grace. Ask the 17 women we freed. Ask the daughters who won't be taken because we stood up. Ask Sam's family sleeping safe in California. Ask Harold, finally able to visit his daughter's grave without shame. Yeah, it was worth it. And if I had to, I'd do it again tomorrow. But tonight, I'm just a brother watching his sister heal, and that's victory enough for any man.